Chapter 3, Pentecostal Corn Choir. Tucker shuffles down the steps ahead of me and goes directly to his favorite tree near the back of the yard. When he's finished marking his spot for like the 1000th time, he trots over to the edge of the Matthews family cornfield, circles exactly 3 times, and squats to do his business. We don't charge Mr. Matthews for the extra fertilizer to that spot. As I step down into the grass, the warm glow of the setting sun blankets my face, and a bully of breeze comes out of nowhere and shoves me back. I hold up my hand, letting the honeysuckle-scented wind weave through my fingers like I do with Mama sometimes. But tonight's, it's like I'm trying to feel what direction she's in, as if the wind could tell me. It's that dimly lit silver of the day when anything is possible. So why not look for magic? Why not? Why not hope? That's what Mama always says. Walking over to the edge of the yard where Tucker is finishing up, I peer into the cornfield. Rows and rows of tall limber stalks sway back and forth in the wind like a gospel choir of Pentecostal corn, waving their green leafy hands in the air, praising Jesus. I can't stop myself from joining in and waving back at them, like I'm directing the Pentecostal corn choir, the way Mama and I used to do together almost every day at twilight. A door slams somewhere behind me, and the memory gets swept up and carried away by the honeysuckle wind. Tucker barks once and runs off to the right. I look over my shoulder. Grandpa waves at me from the back porch of their house, which sits right next to ours. I turn and aim my raised conducting arms at Grandpa, like I'm waving at him and wasn't sure standing there directing the Pentecostal corn choir. They already think I'm crazy enough around here. No reason to give them more ammo. Sometime buzzing my ear with a wispy flutter that kind of tickles, I shake my head and slap it away. Probably just a moth. Moths creep me out. Crossing our backyard, I head over to Grandpa, who gets no further than the bottom of the porch steps before Tucker attacks him with sloppy kisses and nudges of his huge muzzle. "That's my good boy," Grandpa says, leaning down and kissing Tucker on the top of his football-sized head. He doesn't have to lean down too far. Part German Shepherd and part Rottweiler. Tucker stands almost as tall as me. Daddy says if he'd known the tiny rescue pup he got me that day I was born would grow up to 120 pounds, he would have gotten me a cat, like he did when Danny was born. The cat wandered off because Danny turned 1. I guess she didn't like my brother very much, not even when he was a baby and rumored to be an abnormally beautiful child. But Tucker's different from Danny's cat. When I'm home, he never leaves my side. The only person Tucker might love more than me is Mama, but he would never want me to know that. He wouldn't want to hurt my feelings. When I reach them, Grandpa gives me an identical kiss on the top of my head, like Tucker and I are equals, but that's silly. No human person is great as Tucker. The wind whips Grandpa's thick salt and pepper hair from side to side like a flag planted on top of his shoulders. He stands up straight, shoves his hands in the pockets of his faded denim overalls, and cocks his head up at me. "What you doing out there? Staring on the corn, darling." Grandpa calls me darling sometimes. I don't know why, but it doesn't bother me the way it might bother other boys. It sounds natural coming from him. Actually, it makes me feel special because he never calls Danny darling. He calls Danny sport. I'm definitely not a sport. I want to tell him that I'm worried about Mama, that I saw Detective Frank today and I don't think the investigation is going very well. But we're not supposed to talk about it. Nobody said so. But you can just tell Daddy. Grandma and Grandpa never bring up what happened to Mama, at least not when I'm around. I look back at him and shake my head. Nothing. He eyes me like he might not believe me. I'm not as a good liar as Danny, but I don't want to make Grandpa sad. Mama is his and Grandma's only child since Uncle Mike died in Iraq exactly 1 month before I was born. They really love her a lot, and she always made them so proud. Straight A student, church soloist, Sunday school teacher, all her charity work with prisoners and the poor, and the 3-time beauty queen. She could have been Miss South Carolina if she and Daddy hadn't eloped when she was 19. And Mama was their first and only child to graduate from college. She got her degree in social work. When I was a little kid, I used to think she got that degree to help her in her beauty pageants. But it turns out it's not that kind of social work at all. I know her disappearance has been really hard on them. Grandpa can't even talk about her, and he made Grandma pack away all the pictures of Mama in their house. He said it was just too painful to see her face every day. I used to think it was just temporary and that they'll put the pictures back up when Mama comes home. But I'm beginning to wonder if they've given up hope to finding her like Daddy and Danny have. At least Grandpa doesn't drink anymore. He quit the wild turkey cold turkey the day Mama went missing and hasn't had a drop since. Grandma says she's thankful for small miracles because she's been trying to get him to quit for years. Mama told me once that Grandpa started drinking when Uncle Mike died, and sometimes it got real bad back then when I was just a baby. He never acted drunk around baby me. Not that I can remember, so who am I to judge? Grandpa clears his throat. Your grandma's frying up some fat back. Come inside and have some with me. I already ate supper, I say. Grandpa gives me the ear. That's when he can't hear. That's when he can't hear you. So he cups his hand around the rim of his ear and leans forward. I point over to our house and raise my voice to Grandpa's level. Already ate. He nods. Less words, more volume usually does the trick with him. He puts his arm around my shoulder and guides me. Well then, just come in and say hello to Grandma. You know she loves to see you. She's making fruit salad too. Grandma's fruit salad is no joke, so I don't resist. Tucker leads us, making himself right at home, going up the stairs of their back porch and pawing at the door until Grandpa opens it for him. Tucker thinks he's one of the grandkids, and let's face it, he is. Before I go inside, I turn one last time and stare out at the cornfield. Something about the wind tonight, the way it sounds like the ocean in my ears and the honeysuckle-scented sky and the pentacle corn choir waving their arms at me. It's like the whole world is trying to tell me something. Maybe it's trying to help me remember the song Mama used to sing to me every night after she told the story of the whispers. But I still can't remember it. As much as I try, it's stuck somewhere in the cloudy part of the brain. I close my eyes and mouth the wish that became my nightly prayer. I'm going to repeat that sentence a bit just because I got distracted. So let's start again. It's stuck somewhere in the cloudy part of my brain. I close my eyes and mouth the wish that become my nightly prayer, that the whispers will speak to me, that they will help me find her. They know all the secrets of the universe, so they must know where Mama is. I wonder if it's sacrilegious to pray to the whispers instead of God. I know a lot of people have been praying to God about Mama, and I guess he's been real busy or on vacation or something, because it's sure hasn't helped. I don't think he's listening anymore. So I don't see any harm in praying to the whispers. Maybe they're listening. Mama says she hears them sometimes, but I never have. I've always wanted to hear them ever since Mama first started telling me the story. I will go stand in the backyard at the sunset and stare at the tree line beyond the cornfield, waiting for them, wishing for them to talk to me like they talked to the boy in the story. They never did, so I gave up a long time ago. But since Mama went missing, I've started doing it again, every night for nearly 4 months. When I take Tucker out after supper at twilight, I haven't heard them, though. Not yet, but I'll keep wishing and waiting and listening. The whispers are my only hope for finding her. I'm sure of it. Another wall of honeysuckle-scented wind presses into my face. I lean into it and whisper into the dusky, half-lit world just to remind them I'm listening.